Hi, this is Jennifer Newton with Walters Home Management in San Diego, California, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what should be included in your residential lease document. The term of the lease, obvious but very important. Whether it's month to month or a longer term agreement, you need to have a beginning and ending date in your lease document. All occupants over 18 should sign the lease agreement jointly and severally, meaning if one tenant doesn't pay the full amount, it can be collected from the other tenant or tenants. This is an especially important provision in a lease with roommates where all are contributing to the rent. Remember to include where the rent is to be paid. It needs to include an address and a telephone number how the landlord can be reached. Pet requirements, name the pets. That's what I recommend, including the breed and the weight. Be specific about what is required at termination of the tenancy. Will you require the property to be treated for fleas when the tenant leaves? Your lease should always include a provision that a tenant's pet cannot be a nuisance or disturb the peace and quiet enjoyment of neighboring properties. This is particularly important with dogs. There's nothing more annoying than a continually barking dog, so make sure to address that in your lease agreement. Landscape requirements as to who maintains the landscape. What happens if the landscape dies during tenancy due to inadequate irrigation? Make sure to include that in your lease agreement. Utilities. Who pays for what? Be specific. If your property is in a community association, make sure to include a provision that the tenant acknowledges receiving a copy of the rules and regulations and agrees to abide by them. Clearly state that any violation by the tenant resulting in a fine by the HOA will be the responsibility of the tenant. Your HOA management company will appreciate that as well. Standard disclosures in California leases include provisions for Megan's Law, a mold addendum, lead-based paint, and satellite dishes. Non-built-in appliances, that's something to consider. Washer and dryer or refrigerator. Who maintains these appliances? Some owners have their lease state that the washer, dryer, and refrigerator are property of owner, left for the use and convenience of residents. The owner does not intend to repair or replace. Just make sure that you're specific about that. What happens if the tenant breaks the lease? It should be clearly addressed what the tenant's responsibilities are in the event of early termination of the lease agreement. Is there any penalty? Also considering adding addendums if your property has a swimming pool or is on a golf course. But the bottom line is make sure everything is in writing to eliminate any confusion. All tenancies start off with everyone happy, getting along, and in agreement. A well-written lease will give you peace of mind when a challenge or a difficult situation arises that you have it covered. If you're a rental property owner, consider consulting with a professional property manager who specializes in residential rentals before signing your next lease. Thank you.